Hello. Okay, go ahead, start.
We are from Prince Edward Island, Canada, and we have started the Foster to Adopt program, which is not actually called the Foster to Adopt program on Prince Edward Island. It is adopting from the foster system. So we are making this video as an information video for anybody trying to adopt in PEI or even to maybe help the process, because for us, we're kind of like, we think we might be about halfway through, but we still don't really know.
We really have no idea.
Yeah.
And when we started looking into the adoption process, we were able to find a lot. There's loads of information out there online about adopting in the US and various states and so on. A little bit of information in different provinces in Canada, but we really couldn't find anything to give us some guidance as to the timelines or the procedure here in Prince Edward Island, Canada. So we just wanted to give you a little insight as to our own experience, if that could help you. And also we thought, because we were informed when the social worker came for our first visit for our home study, she told us that the province is actually switching over part of the program that they use to assess families in the process. That we would kind of document our experience as well, so that it might be helpful to the province as well to see how we felt going through the experience.
Yeah. And so we've been married for a while. We do have 4 kids, and we want to adopt from the foster system. Even though we have 4 kids, we just still feel like we have a lot of love to give, and I don't think we really feel like overwhelmed with 4 kids. Sometimes, but it's we just feel like there's kind of part of our family missing. It just feels like we're not complete, and so this is why we're kind of going down the avenue of adopting, and we know that there are tons of children out there that need a loving home, and we know that we're good parents, and we know that we could provide a safe home.
So just for our timeline then, so for us, we really made the decision to move forward to adopt from the foster care system in September of 2017. So in December, we let our families know, and
before that we called. Mm-hmm. So like before we told our family, we called to get the process going. So they were supposed to mail us out a questionnaire, and so we had done that, and we were waiting to receive that first package when we told our family.
Yeah, I think we had called in November and kind of got some general information, and they told us that they would send us that first intake questionnaire, and so we were waiting for that when we talked to our families, and we kind of got some feedback from our families as to where they stood in terms of their support for us adopting children, and it was good to kind of as well just kind of make that real to us as well, to know like that they were there, they were able to support us, or the various opinions that some of our family members might have had towards our current situation and bringing more children into our home. So after that, once we had that discussion, we felt comfortable filling out the form that we at that time had received, which is basically like, I think, a 20-question self-evaluation kind of thing that we filled out together. And basically it kind of gave us an understanding of what was expected in the process of adopting from the foster care system. And I don't remember exactly what the questions were or how they were worded. I just remember that if you answered no to any of the questions, then it kind of gave you that knowledge to know that maybe adopting from the foster care system wasn't for you right now. Mm-hmm. So all the questions for us, as we filled them out, worked out fine. We sent it in. So that was in January, the first week of January of 2018, we sent in that form. And that's really when things started for real, I guess. So we waited, and then eventually we got a letter back. So
we submitted that in January, and then we waited, and we got a letter back in March saying that we were approved for the first step, and that we would now need to wait several months to hear back from them. So.
And that basically that wait, we had called as well, and that wait was explained to us that the next step is going to be the kind of the home study or interaction with the social worker, and so the reason that they stated that it was taking so long is just because there's not enough social workers to meet the caseload. So we were basically just kind of waitlisted as our file moved to the top, so that a social worker could take it over, and get in touch with us.
Yeah. So we waited. And waited.
And waited some more.
And waited. A lot of waiting. So in November of 2018, I called they have an adoption services number. So I called them and I asked, what's going on? How much longer? And they basically said, just keep being patient. And so I asked them, is there anything we can do to prepare? And so they gave us a few suggestions for books. And so we started, ordering those books and reading those books and trying to prepare our home some more throughout the process, and just getting everything in order to be able to take the next step.
So after we were told that we would be contacted shortly, it was probably still another month and a half, I think, when we got a package kind of saying that we were assigned a social worker and that they would be in touch soon to get things rolling. And in that package there was a few things for us to fill out. There was an individual self-assessment, so we each had a form where it went through kind of our experiences in our childhood, kind of saying like what our relationship was and is with our parents, with our family.
How we were as a teenager,
Yeah.
There's
kind of like some background
how
on
we
who,
would parent.
Yeah, kind of some background, I guess, to give them an idea, I guess, of how we became who we are and who we are now, and how some information on that would be helpful for them to assess how we would be as adoptive parents, because we know that children in the foster care system that are at the state where they could be adopted out, that it's a difficult time for them in their lives, right? That for whatever reason their parents aren't able to parent them at this time, and that can result in a wide range of behaviors and times of transition, not only right now but moving forward in their lives as they continue to grow into adults. So there was that form.
There was a criminal record check we had to go get.
So on PEI, that they were able to provide that for us for free. So you just go into your local area police department or the RCMP dispatch, and they were able to provide that for free. That took about a week.
Yeah.
There was also a medical form, so it was basically just a general form that you bring into your family doctor or to a doctor to say that there's nothing that would prevent you medically from parenting at this point. And then there was also a form that just kind of asked you to list 4 character references, people that are not your direct family, so that could really be anybody. So and there was also a budget sheet where it just asked you to just generally list individually the income per year, and then to kind of list out per month the expenses, and they had categories like mortgage or rent, food,
yeah.
fuel, heat, transportation, things like that. So it kind of just listed it out.
And that form too was like very basic. Like it had like multiple categories, like, and
Grouped together.
you would just like put the amount. So
we filled those out. That took us a couple weeks,
Yeah.
probably 3 or almost a month, I guess, to get, by the time we got the criminal record check done and were able to schedule a doctor's appointment. And the other forms, we just needed to contact our references to make sure that they'd be willing to do that. And then we called the Family and Human Services again to see what they wanted us to do with those forms.
And this is a cool story. I don't know if we want to like tell this story, but as I had called, and so I was on the phone with them talking to adoption services, and
we found out that we don't have call waiting.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
as she was on the house phone calling
Yeah.
them to see if we should keep the forms or if we should send them in, the social worker actually called my cell phone at the same time and said she had just tried to call our house phone
Yeah.
and that it was busy, and so to set up our appointment. So we were able to have that appointment set up, which we're really excited about, to finally be at that step, and so that was just last month.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and it wasn't clear for us either, but that first visit kind of started the home study portion of the application process. So our social worker came in, we gave her a quick tour of the house, and then we kind of talked a little bit about our family a little bit, and then she actually, based on the forms and stuff that we had sent in, she had some questions and things that she wanted to ask us or get into. One of the things that we both kind of found funny is that we have a cat and a dog, and so it makes sense, but it just kind of seemed funny at the time that she asked, like, how long we've had them for, how they do with the kids, how they interact with strangers that come to the door, especially for our dog.
What was their breed?
Yeah, so just kind of their temperament and things like that, which makes sense because you're going to be bringing somebody else into your home who they need to be aware of how the animals would interact, because they're part of our home.
Yeah.
So our social worker sat with us for a while, and we just talked about various things, and it again just wasn't very clear for us what the process would look like, and just kind of getting back to it again, we mentioned it earlier that we are the first ones going through this new program for assessing adoptive parents called the SAFE program. So it's an acronym, and I guess it's a new program that's being adopted by the province, and so she wasn't really sure what would change based on how she had done home studies before. We don't actually know the difference of how they did it before versus how we're doing it now.
Yeah.
But we had to ask at the end kind of what to expect, what the next steps would be. At the end, we scheduled another appointment for her next visit, which would have been 3 weeks' time. And she had said that it would probably be, I guess, 7 to 12 other visits. And so for us, that was that was surprising.
Yeah.
I guess especially if there's 3 weeks between each visit.
And that first visit took an hour and a half. So she had scheduled an hour and a half with us, and she was very prompt. She
arrived on time and left on time, so
yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, it was good.
And the next appointment as well, she said we should probably schedule about an hour and a half. And I guess it kind of depends on the various social workers for this one. For that appointment, she said it would probably be best, because we have 4 kids, our 2 older kids are in school and our 2 younger ones are at home. She said it would probably be best if we got a babysitter for that first visit, and this next one as well. We plan on getting a babysitter as well.
But she said at some point she will have to meet all of our children, which we kind of expected.
So that's kind of been our process up to now. So officially we had asked for the package. We got it. I just found the letter there on January 2nd or 3rd. We got the initial package that asked us to fill out that first form. That was in 2018, and now it's April 2019, and so we're just starting the home study portion of the process, and we just wanted to give you an idea, as well as kind of record for ourselves as a record of how the process has been advancing. And I think as well, as we discussed doing this, we kind of thought it would be good for our family to have as a record, especially for our own children that we have now, as well as any other child or children that we'll bring into our home through this adoption process.
Just so they know too, like it's not just easy. You don't just like say like, yeah, I just want a child. Can I have a child?
It's not something that we take lightly. Like
yes,
that, it is something that we're committed to doing.
Yeah.
And to being able to hopefully share the love that we have in our home, or provide an environment where child or children can grow, and that we can foster a safe environment for them to be able to become who they have the potential to be. Well, as we go through this process, like we really again have no idea how long it's going to take. It's one of the things that's a little different about PEI as well is that it's a small place and people know people, and so it's sometimes it can be difficult. If you live in a larger city or a metropolitan area where there's, hundreds of thousands of people, chances are that you wouldn't meet up with somebody who knew the child or had some interaction, or if that was a need to get the child away from their family a little bit more. Whereas here, chances are that somebody will know somebody that knows that we have adopted a child or children. So
we will document our next home study visit and let you guys know how it goes. Thanks.
Thanks.